How social media affects political elections. Welcome, my name is Clive Tonner, the writer behind How Social Media Affects Political Elections, and this is a quick introduction to my blog. So why choose this topic? Basically, I think that social media plays an important role in democratic societies because they allow for participation among citizens. Thus, when it comes to a healthy democratic network, it is crucial that the news published on these platforms remains true. Also, it is interesting to see why these platforms were created and how these platforms affect life, especially the political one. One reason people post on social media is that social media sharing can tie to positive social media feedback and self-esteem. Thus, the quest for likes or follows on social media heavily influences why people post. The use of the social media platforms for political purposes has grown over the last decade, where we have seen governments and political parties focusing on increasing attention on online communication to address the public. What is social media? Social media is a collective term for websites and applications like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, which focus on communication, community-based input, interaction, content sharing, and collaboration. Social media originated as a way to interact with friends and family, but was later endorsed by businesses which wanted to take advantage of a popular new communication method to reach out to their current and future customers. To use social media in politics, you do not have to have the big money, big fundraisers, big supporters to be able to communicate with your constituency and tell the people about what your ideas are for the future. By the use of social media, the politician can tell the people about who he is and what his values are. The power of social media. In politics, the popularity of social media has made elected officials and candidates more liable and accessible to voters, as well as the ability to publish content and broadcast it to millions of people at once allows campaigns to carefully manage their candidates' images based on rich sets of analytics in real time and at almost no cost. In elections, when it comes to coverage, the first thing journalists do is choosing which candidates to cover and how much. Those choices alone can have a huge effect on voter perceptions. Also, for the media, this uneven coverage was driven more by economics than political bias. In a competitive 24/7 news cycle, news organizations publish stories that will drive traffic. The social movement theory. A social movement is a loosely formed but sustained campaign in support of a social goal, typically either the fulfillment or the prevention of a certain change in society's structure or values. Social media has been playing a very important role, as nowadays it is the media in general and has a mobilizing effect. These movements usually start with inspiration or an occurrence of some kind. In the case of Black Lives Matter, the occurrence was a shooting. It was concentrated initially in the area of the shooting, but it spread quickly through social media. There is nothing like the ability of social media to carry the message in a broad way. It is way harder to do when people are more remote from one another. News consumption on social media when it comes to elections. When it comes to news consumption on social media regarding adults may lag behind when it comes to attention regarding the election or other news such as the COVID-19 pandemic news. Social media has been shown as a political intermediary used to assert influence and achieve political goals. Social media is an unreliable tool to help manipulate the masses in an election. It can also be a tool for grassroots to mobilize against those in power. In conclusion, how does social media affect political elections? As we have seen, social media can affect election outcomes, be it with influences, a social movement, foreign governments, or misinformation. But can social media determine the outcome of an election? In the 2020 US election, while Trump has had 87 million followers on Twitter to Vice President Biden's 11 million followers, both candidates saw a massive increase in engagement during the election cycle. Also, the Social Bakers data found that Biden's 3 highest-performing tweets have nearly double the number of interactions compared to Trump's respective tweets, despite Biden's drastically lower follower count, showing that the irrelevance of follower count on a stage this large, thus giving the power to candidates to connect with those crucial undecided voters.